What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Roots. So I'm going to review the second album by Preachas in the Hood. Basically, this product is called Tears of a Gangsta, and it came out somewhere in 1998. Now, within the fair about it, at least on cassette, it came out seemingly in 1998. Discogs says that it came out somewhere in 98. Doesn't list the exact date of when it came out, but it's within pages somewhere in 1998. But supposedly later on, at least in digital sales, not so much full-bound digital sales, but at least in terms like CD type release and further marketing, it was released in the winter of 1999. So it's kind of the pitch as far as saying, but it's the aspect as far as saying, so this is not their debut album. It seemed like when Tears of a Gangsta seemed like one of their more breakout type albums within the pitch, but they did have a Gangsta's Pain a little bit before this one, at least according to Discogs, but that doesn't have like an official release. It's kind of within the fair. This is kind of a low-key band as far as these fairs go. Preachas in the Hood is kind of a low-key group as far as these fairs can have them within the full bound. It's not a super ton of information really is full bound seemingly known within pitches like that. It's kind of the appeal, but Gangsta's Pain seemingly came out a little bit earlier in the 90s pitches like that, so some of those type of ordeals, but particularly within the aspect, Larry the Batman fan introduced this band to me as far as these fairs can have them within these pitches. Particularly he showed me the hit song Close. Particularly Larry the Batman fan showed me the hit song Closed Casket as far as these first album, but within the particular, it's more of a low-key type album within pitch. Like I was saying, the fair about it, it doesn't have a wiki page about them pitches like that, so the information is not as full-bound known within the complete aspect. Apart from Discogs, Rate Your Music doesn't have any information about these folk, and Discogs doesn't really have like a terrible much bit of information about them within these fairs, but from what particularly appears, they're basically kind of more religious bound kind of gangster rap within those aspects within the tone. And it says like Discogs refers to it as gangster rap / conscious rap, so it's kind of the pitch, having like G-funk type foils and gangster rap type foils, just a more conscious and kind of more light shedding type aspect within the tone as far as these pitches can happen when you pay attention to the lyrics. Now within the fair, I was looking at this particular album as just when you pay attention to like the production fair and the aesthetic of it, it's very similar. It has a lot of bitings to Master P and the No Limit style around that particular time in the mid-late 90s. Throughout the mid-late 90s and the early 2000s pitches like that. This one of the shining type ones that it takes the most affluence from I'd say further within some of the type aspects. A little bit of Scarface, Brother Lynch, Hung, Coolio, and Bone Thugs are in there as well within some of those type pitches. Just basically continuing the trends, even though these folk are more seemingly from Colorado and Denver, some of those type places, kind of the pitches taking those vibes. This feels like Cali or Nevada type music, West Coast type bumping pitches like that, chunking up the W pitches like that as far as those ordeals can happen. So just kind of within the pitch, but 40-ounce sipping, some of those type fairs, khakis and Van shoes pitches like that, some of those type aspects from the tone. But it's kind of the pitch as far as saying continues that fair into 98, 99 when particularly Master P was reigning king as far as those pitch can happen, at least in terms like the mains. In terms of the mainstream kind of commercial popularity. But this album is a success. Now, paying attention, if you set aside like the religious kind of tones of this particular album, it is a pretty classic type G-funk continued type album in a trend where there was some spare type moments just thinking of things that were the most popular around this time. If it wasn't DMX, Master P, or probably Mystical in certain senses, this kind of aspect that just is kind of a more quieter spell type area. You did have Puff Daddy a little bit, you did have Jay-Z a little bit, some of those type folks. Eminem was getting ready to happen on the scene, but this actually came out before Eminem dropped an album, so it's kind of the pitch apart from like the Slim Shady EP, Infinite, some of those type ones. But in terms of like the mainstream, this came out in like a particular kind of spare era, pitches like that, so it's just kind of the ordeal. But yeah, I recommend all 11 songs. There are songs on here, so pitches like that, 10 out of 10. Now within the fair, despite the fact it's simple enough to recommend the smokage, drinking type fair within these aspects on top of the fair, which particularly goes along with this album. It's kind of within the aspect that's paying attention. It's a dope type album. It's not like it's watered down or something like that within the tone of like the aspect of what you're listening to. It's basically like just getting like a more prim and proper kind of Scarface, Bone Thugs, or Master P type album within those pitches. The same sort of fare as far as those aspects can have. So it's just excellent type fare to be able to get that just ripped out of those days. Trying to think of that particular hit song by Scarface off of like the Office Space album, the soundtrack as far as what's first gonna happen. I think it's like Damn It Feel Good to Be a Gangsta, some of those type ones. This has those particular aspects, this simple kind of definitely say within the aspect this can be mistaken pretty easily for like a No Limit type label type folk as far as those first happen. Just within those pitches, it's very similar to that tone, just very much Cali surfing, just lowrider type Orange Skies type cruises. Now, the only thing this album really full bound lacks is full bound is just some sort of dance club type song. I'd say probably the closer type one of these type ones would be Rolling Through Your Hood. There's a couple auto-tune type ones that have similarities to like Tupac, Roger Troutman, kind of California Love type vibes. Not really, it's not as much of a full dance club bass like that, but just the auto-tune type ones that you listen to just in line at like a drive-through at like, you know, Burger King or one of those type places with the tone just surfing around in some sunny skies kind of neighborhoods. Rolling Through Your Hood kind of particularly does that, and I think it might. There's another one on here I forgot to designate. It might be This Is For Those G's, some of those type ones, but this kind of pitch as far as saying just some good type products. So has some. It's definitely a surfing type album within pitches like that. Has the aspect of some of those type moments, but just to say you get the 40 ounces, the zigzags, the errand runs, the utility runs kind of in route within some of the products. So good type there. But yeah, 10 out of 10 album. So I don't really know his full about the singles of this product. Like I said, the information's pretty minimal within the aspect behind it. But the most popular song according to Spotify is Smile Now, Cry Later. And I'm also going to talk about within the single format the song Larry the Batman Showed Me, which is Closed Casket. So it's within those ideas. But Smile Now, Cry Later is like a throwback kind of 90s gangster rap and like a parody sense, I'd say here. Like a parody sense, I'd say here. It harnesses Master P pretty well within these aspects. There's some typical slime within the format of him as far as what's present happens. Just within the pitch, definitely feels like this leftover kind of 90s G-Funk kind of Cali rap and pitches like that. Some of those type vibes. So just like the sludge of it as far as what's present. Just neighborhood bops, pitches like that. It's kind of more or less slummish, but just kind of within the aspect of just like a surf around to kind of get. So it just continues that trend just in a little bit more prim type aspect. So it's just kind of the tone, fucking with some of those type folks at the edge type factor. If you get tired of that, like that particular snarl about what goes on, really Master P doesn't really have as much full bound type snarl. He's pretty lazy type dude within pitch. Not to say lazy in terms of work product, but work ethic, but just the tone of just like the surf arounds, not quite as furious with as Tupac with ambitions as a ride to hit him up, some of those type ones, but within the pitch as far as saying just the product, some of those just surf around type ones, it's good, nice one to listen to, like some orangey kind of skies, just there's some good McDonald's runs kind of songs on this particular album, pitches like that, just McDonald's, Arby's, some pickups, just get some fast food kind of grub and just lazy kind of 30 mile an hour type day pitches, cruising around pitch like that, sounds that fair just in the traffic of it, but it's a routine kind of day in the hood within a G-Funk kind of gangster rap kind of parody, just in a more prim type sense. So excellent type aspect, but nails the tone behind it. Then Closed Caskets is another hit song off this product. Now this at least had over 1,000 plays on Spotify. This is a song that Larry the Batman. Closed Caskets is the song that Larry the Batman fan showed me not too long ago, pitches like that. But this is like a leery kind of smoke trip, I'd say here, just rolling around in like a haunting sense, I'd say, within the product of it. Good song to grab like some ruffles, some goodies like that. There's some homies dap, some of those type pitches with the aspect as far as what songs comes. So just kind of missed the pitch. This one definitely feels like Bone Thugs and Master P on like a more snarled type day pitch like this. Just kind of fair. Some of those type ones, it just feels like the Bone Thugs group have like the Ouija board out pitches like that. Some of these type ordeals. Then the aspect like the routine kind of tear up pitches like that. Some of those type ones when this feels like some of those kind of haunting type singles off of like E99 Eternal from 1995. I need to get around to reviewing that, but it's in the pitch as far as saying. But yeah, songs like Mo Murda, some of those type ones, those this vintage kind of citywide kind of horrorcore pitches like that. So just kind of aspects as far as saying, but just good. It's a good, nice, past the bleezy type music. Get some ganja in rotation, pitches like that. Have a good movie or something like that on within those aspects as far as the tone's going to go. Just aspects of like Bulletproof Monk, some of those type ones. You get the tone as far as those pitches can happen. Just excellent within the ordeals, but good product. Some of these type ones just hit the fare pretty well within the aspects of it. Listen to What We Say is a quality one within some tear up that's pretty similar to Closed Caskets. This harnesses Master P and Scarface excellently, I'd say. This particular song's like a shadowy kind of G-Funk horror to get just a good surf around within some type tones. So this kind of the pitch, kind of like Smile Now, Cry Later, but just in a more horror type aspect, the way Bone Thugs would kind of do some of those type ones within a pitch is kind of the fair. Just there are some ones like Closed Caskets, Listen to What We Say, I'd say Crazy Time, some of these type aspects within the tone as far as getting towards some of these type ones of like, there's some day surfing type ones kind of miss more like 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock p.m. And then there's some ones that are kind of more 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock, some of those type pitches just within the format of this consistent kind of fares to kind of get some tear up kind of going within the product to just having like some drink in your system, good fares like that. So Listen to What We Say, Closed Caskets are just some good night shift demon time type runs, pitches like that, some type ordeals. Have the smoke that fair swisher in your ears, some of those type ones within the product, good excellent blitzers, good products up. Yeah, like I was saying, this is a neighborhood type project within the pitch, either surf arounds or just kind of content of just some struts, some of those type fairs, talkable runs, pitches like that. But that's about the only thing this I was saying that's the one few thing this album lacked is just the fair, just something to kind of post up, get some crunk going in like a dance club. But then this was kind of before that. It's full bound. I mean, this was kind of right around the time that like Back That Ass Up was starting to pop off. California Love was kind of getting into the couple years later. Cresty Moments like some turn up within like dance club type fairs. That's about the only thing. It's just getting something kind of within the pitch of just more conditioned kind of dance type noise pitches like that. Trying to think of, they didn't seem like the Biggie and Puff Daddy kind of sample type of thing as far as those pairs. They're kind of more seemingly doing like the West Coast kind of Coolio and Tupac, Brother Lynch type fare, some of those type pitches, Snoop Dogg pitches like that. But it's not like that's a bad thing. Just excellent type pitch to look after. But this for those G's is nice as well. It's like some hollow music to get. Just some standard block noise, good pitches like that. Just street light buzzing, I'd say pitches like that. Some of these type fares, Sips and Brews, I'd definitely say here. Just kind of some hood. Good neighborhood commotion, just a chatty type song. So it's a good, nice one for Beezy's nearby pitches like that. Get the folks coming around. Just standard gather as far as these pitches can happen. Just outdoor kind of commotion, red cups, some of these type fairs. So this is traditional type one, good type pitch. This is another one that has like that particular Roger Troutman type auto tune type fair about it, just like rolling through your hood. So it's just some good, nice ones for like some standard kind of relief as far as the fair's gonna happen. Now within the fair, like I was saying, paying attention to like the lyrics for some of these type ones, it kind of does it in a more healthy kind of paradoxical type sense. I'd say not sure if parodical, and it's not parodical, but paradoxical, whether or not that has to do with parody, but just kind of a parody type way as far as those pitches can happen, but just the aspect of kind of getting towards that, just kind of keeping you aware, kind of 90s woke as far as those pitches can happen, but just kind of aspects as far as saying it does have some recreation on here, so it's kind of the pitch, hollow type music on this for those G's. Rolling Through Your Hood's a nice one as well. I'm surprised this song didn't have more popularity on Spotify. It's like a grand 90s flavor kind of block bopping to kind of get here within the aspects. Good choice. This particular song definitely feels like a grand 90s flavor kind of block bopping single, I'd say here. Very much like Coolio and Montel Jordan, just ripped out of 95, 96. Some of stuff here is just some lazy fun as far as these pairs go. So it's very similar to Smile Now, Cry Later, a little bit more oriented towards like a single type format. So this would have been a good choice to have promoted like the album, just to kind of just nowadays chunking up the deuces like a cheesy kind of 90s flavored music video pitches like that. Just Lokes on, some pitches like that. Hoopties kind of going, bouncing some of these type pitches. Good starlets and like some Daisy Dukes dancing around, good pitch like that. Some stuff where just a good pitch of just some of those type flavors. Probably would have been just like the Gangsta's Paradise music video, some of those type pitches, but good type flair. When the Gangsta's roll is a nice one as well. It's like a slinky and tipsy kind of typical 90s traffic kind of song pitches like that. Just good song to pick up some zags, some zigzags, fares like that. Just standard errands as far as these fares going to happen. So despite the fact that this kind of being like a lazy type album within the surf rounds, it does have the product to getting towards some things in terms of like the traffic of it. So you get some shit done as far as these sort of deals going to happen. It does have the aspect of getting like the comments of it taken care of within the tone. So you get the products, the Walmart runs, the necessary items, pitches like that. When the Gangsta's rolls, it's a good slinky type one to have some drink in your system within the, to be tipsy, have some drink in your system within the legality of it, good fares like that, but this kind of aspect of this balancing like that particular fare being productive, but having some enjoy with it as well within those pitches, good type fare. 90s traffic type noise, definitely I'd say here. Too Hard is a quality one. This is like a good blase kind of 90s G-Funk kind of traffic days to get within these aspects. This one definitely reminds like Master P, Coolio, Bone Thugs, some of those type folks, but then just a makeshift dredge kind of get. It's definitely like a slumish blase, some of those type aspects, just typical kind of movie rentals pitch like that, going by like a Hollywood video, Blockbuster, some of these type places back in those days. Nowadays, those are not as much full bound. I mean, I think Family Video or some of those type places are still available, but just typical movie rentals going by pickup type, going by like a pawn shop type store, some of these type pitches, just Burger King type runs, just typical traffic of some of that fare, just the dredge of it, but it's just good unleash from some of that, just good relief of like that particular fare, just getting towards like the blase of just songs like this one should definitely have some good nostalgia, just sitting in traffic, some of those type fares. So just the aspect like the grief of just middle fingers raised, but just feels like a familiar song, I'd say, within pitches like that, good type fare. Thugs We Love is nice on here as well within these pitches, like a neighborhood kind of bop around to get just corner store pickups, I'd say, within the aspect. Grab like some Bic lighters, pitches like that, get like an OJ drink, orange juice, grab like an OJ drink, talking about orange juice, if you don't know, it's full bound, but just one pitch, just in case you're from somewhere else, or pitches like that, but just some day sun as far as these pitches gonna happen. This block neighborhood. This one reminds more like Scarface within the tone. Bone Thugs kind of did these in certain type senses, but not as full bound, because the four of them, it felt more like they were kind of the collective, but it kind of feels Thugs We Love feels more like Scarface, Brother Lynch, Hung, some of those type pairs, just zigzag pickups, big lighters, 40 ounces, couple Budweisers, pitches like that, Stones type 4 deals, just excellent type pitch, some of those type pairs, just getting some other type standard goodies, newspapers, pitches like that, typical kind of corner store type errands pitches, some of those type pairs about it, good product. Trying to think of some other type ones. I don't think I've talked about Tears of a Gangsta. It's a nice one on here as well. It's like a typical kind of day relief to get this pleasant kind of work-a-day flip mode, I'd say here. This is more traditional type one. Good nice one to grab McDonald's pitches like that. Just has some tokage I would recommend with the pitch to keep it from being too blasé and just factory kind of blue-collar type fit and tone with it as far as what's going to happen, just not getting too healthy. It's kind of tone, just when I say pleasant work a day, just kind of aspect like a song that you would listen to on like a usual kind of Tuesday, Monday type afternoon is pitched like that, just to miss like the work fair with just like Tears of a Gangster would be like a clean fit, just kind of makeshift type song with them pitches like that, just standing straightforward, go to work, get the product, just lunch rush type song with them pitches, just like the traditional fare. And not to recommend smoking in between like lunch breaks, pitches like that, but just the fare as far as saying just the product, just some of those type moments within like the traffic, like the day, just kind of the product of just it's one of those type ones as you get done with things like 3:30 or 4 pitches like that, 2:45 songs type aspects within the tone as far as saying just the product of having towards like it really gave me healthier, kind of more vanilla type vibes within the pitch as far as those pairs go. Just to miss the aspect of gonna go pay a bill or two, something like that. Grab like a shirt or two at like the department store, something like that, and go get like a standard errand done, go watch the news when you get home, pitches like that. It's more factory within the traditional line. It's not so much to say full bound like it being a limp type song, but it's just kind of pitch just has a little bit more just basic kind of vanilla-ness about it, I'd say, within the aspect. But good nice one to grab like some McDonald's just within the pitch. These are the sorts of songs that like alt rock kind of does with 90s type grabs, like, you know, Third Eye Blind and particular Marcy Playground, some of those type folks in the pitch. And it's not quite as lazy and quite as drudgy as those ones, but just kind of has like a pleasant, kind of healthy type energy. It has like a pleasant kind of vanilla type energy about it. It's just interesting within the fair, but it's just good type product, just simple long type song, just good, nice one, throw some tokage in there. Player Haters is nice on here as well. Good product about this one. It's like a relative paranoia and ruffled day, kind of block weaving to kind of get within these aspects. This utility run type song, chores, some of these type aspects. Good nice one, has some Cheetos along for the ride, just pitches like that. It's kind of fair like the tradition, just with some of those type ones where they kind of are worried about things, you know, typical G-Funk type songs within the pitch. Just one of those type ones where it's like, fuck it, I think I'm being watched. The way Tupac would kind of do songs like Death Around the Corner, but just in a more block type noise. This corner store type aspects, just paying attention. Feels like within a parody type sense of that particular fair, paying attention to like the lyric type fair, but it is kind of the pitch as far as saying it does kind of have the woke type factor, just realizing the stuff that they're saying as far as those pitch kind of happen. But it's good, nice fair to like get some shit done along the way within the pitches, just pick up like utilities that are necessary, pitches like that, get like that broom, dish soap, some of those products, just get the standard chore out of the way, pitches like that, have some Cheetos along with it, keep it interesting, good fares. Crazy Times is a dope one on here as well. It's like amidst like the evening scene hustle to get within these products. There's kind of some in-between moments, I'd say, within the aspect. It's kind of gas station, pit stop, some of those type things about it. Just get some Coors, drink, some of those type aspects from the tone. So it's just kind of tone as far as saying, just from the aspects as far as saying, just some of those type ones. It's kind of more amidst like the night hustle is kind of getting, or you got some shit to do amidst like the night type fair. Just this is some of those type ones that are ride out type songs. The way Master P, Bone Thugs, some of those type folks would say, hey, I'm wide awake, just glared alive, just feeling fired up, some of these type pitches, dismiss the product to like kind of the way Tupac would do like a song like Hit 'Em Up and some of those type songs, but just more past the hours like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock p.m. Past like the hours of 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock p.m. pitches like that. Just good, nice fair to pick up some good, some of those type products just amidst like the fill-ups and just things that are necessary to kind of get like the completion of like the things getting towards taken care of as far as those pitch kind of. But it's just kind of the fair, more or less like one of those 3-6 Mafia snack run type songs just amidst like Demon Time, but just more with like shit to do amongst those fairs. So just kind of a productive type one as opposed to this recreational type fair. Just kind of product if you have homies along the ride where you got to get some things taken care of, just miss the pitch getting towards it. This lively kind of evening scene hustle, I'd say about some of that, some of those type fairs, just in a Master P type flavor pitch like that, Scarface, some of those type aspects from the tone. So that's the product about this album as far as these fairs going to have them looking after it here. This album gets a 10 out of 10. The social score I'm going to go ahead and give. I'm going to give the social score of this album like a 9.75 out of 10 just because the fare behind this album, just the fact, I mean, I think it has enough relative popularity, especially more within like conscious type fairs, pitches like that. It's a good alternative to Master P and Scarface, those type folks, Coolio, folks like that within those tones. Has the West Coast kind of aesthetic, especially in a waning kind of days, getting to 1998, 99, where that was starting to sift away. It's kind of the fair as far as saying it's a good type product to have some of these type flares. Just kind of the pitch as far as saying just the promotion about it was just not a signature kind of high. And if you're not as much full bound religious type bound with them pitch, it may not be as much of like the appeal might not be as much full bound kind of signaling pitches like that. But I look after this being, I'll say it's a good album with them pitch. Definite classic, has the same sort of fare as like some of those type varieties. This is further helpings, that sort of stuff you like. Just kind of does it in a different type tone. Just has like more kind of woke type factor about it, and just more food for thought kind of tones. Just more kind of conscious and pitches like that. So it has the fare about it, but it's kind of the pitch. It has the same sort of flair and just fieriness, this G-funk type roll around, some neighborhood surfs, lowrider type bump in, some neighborhood kind of, some streetlight kind of smokage, 40-ounce sipping, get some Coors, some pitches like that, corner store kind of pickups, traffic, some of these type fairs within the aspect, plenty of that type variety. Tupac, Master P, Coolio, Scarface, just folks like that within the aspect, just within the tone, nailing it. So nails the particular vibes. Some makeshift type songs, pretty bustled as well, pitches like that. So I looked and feel it does have that. It's kind of the fact that it's just lower key to find, and it just the only thing. It's just trickier to find, and then the theme of it is just the only two things. But it's not to say like it's a bad thing. It's just kind of pitch to just questioning the reception it would get. But in terms of future, like Preachas in the Hood are a product of the 90s. They had been around since, going. This is the product of like their get up and their starting points being 30 years ago. Pitches like that. So they're probably about Master P and Tupac and Coolio's age. Some of those type folks within the variety, at least somewhere in that vein. Keep in mind that they were around before Eminem within commercial type senses, pitch like that. So it's kind of the fair as far as saying just nails the appeal pitch like that. But they do have some other type albums. Might get to some more of these down the road, something like that within these tones. But this is more or less kind of like a pretty central type classic within the tone of something that kind of stuck to its own lane but nailed it, just keeping like an aesthetic that was pretty popular around that time. So nailed the appeals, definitely some good type shit and things like that, I'd say.